Recently, I talked about the finale of the show Everybody Loves Raymond, and in that video, I said that it was one of two series finales I watched as a kid without ever knowing that it was a show's actual finale. Today, I'm here to talk about the other one. Now, what's important to remember is that way back when, you saw these shows whenever they'd come on. There wasn't any streaming service you could watch them on, there was no box sets of the seasons that were made. Binge watching was really not a thing outside of a marathon. You caught it when it was on, or you didn't catch it at all. Sometimes they'd air episodes in order, and sometimes they wouldn't. Sometimes you'd be watching the channel it was on, and you'd be watching what felt like a compilation of random episodes. Buys. Instead, it's a tropey gimmick episode that doesn't close out the story so far, but instead focuses on telling its own. It's an odd choice because you would think that the final episode of a show wouldn't just be some random independent story. It'd be something that's meaningful and applicable to the rest of the show as a whole. Even if you have an episodic series, it's weird to have your final episode be an episodic episode. But hey, at least they made it a two-parter, so they got that right. What you need to know going into this episode is that Michelle likes horses now. Never did before, but now she's all about horses. Loves them. I think they were making that Mary-Kate and Ashley horse riding video game at the time, so they really had to cash in on that. They were the A plot. The B and C plots consist of Stephanie and DJ's lackluster love lives, and how neither of the sisters can get a date. Stephanie can't seem to make things work with her crush, even though they're playing Romeo and Juliet in their school play. And DJ just can't seem to find a guy who keeps her interest. They're both looking for love, but they're both coming up short. And despite the two sisters going through the exact same thing, these are two separate stories that don't intersect whatsoever. Wonderful. Twice the problem, none of the reward, and less screen time for everything else. But nothing of note happens with either of those two plots in the first episode. There's another alphabetical letter plot with Jesse, where he's doing too much and just doesn't have time for anything. Which is funny, because that's kind of an issue I have with the show overall. It's doing too much and it doesn't have enough time to tell an actual story. But who cares about all that stuff, because really, it's all about Michelle. She's the star of this episode, and she's the star of the show that we're talking about. And she's one of a kind. Both of her. Elizabeth all for that matter. It would seem that the fall from the horse caused head trauma and gave Michelle amnesia. She has no memory of anything at all. Throughout the episode, the whole family desperately try to get her to remember, but to no avail. They try everything they can think of, showing her family pictures, recalling old memories, having her tour the house, but unfortunately it has no effect. Now, while the family is in crisis, desperately trying to get the youngest Tanner to remember who they are and who she is, Steph finally shares a kiss with the boy she likes. Jesse's subplot is wrapped up in a sentence in passing with him saying he's going to spend more time with his family. DJ just kind of sits around and talks about not going to the prom until the ending, where Steve makes his triumphant return. And that part's actually pretty good. Actually, DJ and White Aladdin reuniting may just be one of the only qualities this episode has that makes it feel like an actual ending. It's like, yeah, there's that nostalgia we were looking for. Michelle eventually goes to sleep, where Mary-Kate meets Ashley. They have like 30 seconds of screen time together, and then Michelle wakes up with a full memory. Well, I guess not a full memory, as now she has no memory of when she had no memory, which, is quite concerning. I mean, this is worse than I thought. Poor girl's got amnesia. It's the type of amnesia where you don't remember when you originally had amnesia. For all the concussions I've gotten in my lifetime, I've never actually suffered from amnesia. So I probably shouldn't with certainty say this, but I will anyway. I'm almost entirely positive that when you heal from amnesia, you don't just get your old memories back and then forget the new ones you just made. You don't stop forgetting and then start forgetting a different period of time. I'm almost entirely sure that's not how that works. There's not like a PhD or an MD at the end of my name, so don't take my word for it, but, Google is your friend. Then again, I'm talking about the show Full House, which really isn't known for its realism, but instead its sappy, sentimental mentality, so maybe I'm the one at fault here. Look, I know, I'm watching White Family Matters, but I'm not expecting something incredibly compelling. But come on, almost anything would have been better than this. This show did not treat their series finale as if it was their series finale. And that's probably because it wasn't supposed to be. While this episode was always intended on being the Season 8 finale, there were plans for a Season 9. Unfortunately, the show got cancelled before they could get to it, not ever giving the Full House crew the opportunity to craft an ending to their near-decade-long story. How unfortunate. Again, I can't say that I'm a raging Full House fan. It's something I kinda liked when I was younger, but doesn't really do anything for me now. But nonetheless, I think it deserved better than this. It deserved at least an opportunity to say goodbye with dignity, to be celebrated by its audience one last time. It feels really cheap knowing that this is the way it went out. Forced to call a season finale a series finale and just go on about their business. Although to be fair, this episode is pretty goofy for a season finale as well. It's just weird to think that this is the last that we'd see of the franchise for 2 decades. This was it. This was the end. I do think Fuller House definitely provided better closure on all the characters' lives, and its series finale is a much better series finale than this one. Although to be fair, the Fuller House series finale was actually a series finale, so there is that. But never mind any of that, because here's the real newsflash here. Scott Menville, Robin from the Teen Titans and Teen Titans Go, is in this episode. Thank you for showing up in this. That is my silver lining here. Overall, I think Full House had one of the weirdest and wackiest series finales. I'm actually genuinely surprised that the show wasn't allowed to properly close out on its own. For as big as the fan base was and for as many seasons as it was on the air, you would think the studio would have at least given them the opportunity to wrap everything up. I'm not even saying greenlight them for another season, but at least greenlight them for another episode. You know, maybe a TV movie, something, I don't know. This just doesn't sit right with me. For me, I think this has to be seen as a mistake, and one of the biggest blunders to close out a beloved show. Full House was a full-on disappointment. With all that being said, if you like this video and would like to see more great series with terrible finales, let me know in the comment section below by leaving a comment saying,
"Have mercy."
I am vengeance. I am the night, and that was V Infuso. Just remember, if you're not tuning in, then you're missing out.
So, if you like the words that came out of his mouth hole, and you too would like to become a V-generate, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, nerds!
And if you're not joining the fun, you're in for one bad day. And you know what they say about having one bad day?
Catch him next time. Same bat time. Same bat channel.